Hello again, everyone. I appreciate you guys clicking on the video. These are my 10 home rules that I have for my D&D games and campaigns. Starting with number 1, rolling characters. So when creating a character, all ability scores are rolled in order. So strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, and so on. You only get one full set of rules. So this means essentially that your rolls are kind of set in stone. For example, you roll a strength of 15, a dex of 12, or a con of 9, and then continue down the road there. That's your stat spread for your current character that you're trying to build. But I also give my players an option to just use point buy if they don't like their stats, or if the stats don't go aligned with what they're trying to create. For my second rule, I don't need this rule most of the time. Most of the time my players don't actually ever make a character like this, but what this rule is essentially no edgy McGrimdark. Basically, this is a game for fun. No brooding, misery, ultra dark, doom and gloom characters. They usually drag down the table's energy. Everyone is here to enjoy the adventure, not watch a player sulk and just be dark and brooding and always the mysterious stranger. But I usually don't have a problem with that, and most of the time, if they are kind of like a sad past, or like a quest for revenge or something, they usually play it pretty well. I believe that my third rule is no secrets. So what I mean by this is all the players know the class, race, and background of all the other characters in the party. Basically, this allows people to talk amongst each other about what they're trying to do with their character. It encourages teamwork and avoids kind of the lone wolf behavior when it comes to an RPG where you're creating this character who doesn't know the party. Where if your player knows the other characters, they can shift their character opinion and possibly use that to help them interact with the other characters in the group. So attunement, which is number 4. Attunement for me is kind of easier. I believe attuning is like an hour or something like that, and I thought that was just ridiculous. So attuning to a magic item for my games, it takes an action, and unattuning takes 1 minute. This allows you to quickly grab an item and immediately use it in like battle. So say the wizard picks up a wand of magic missiles in combat, and then spends an action to attune to it, which means on his next turn he can use all the charges of that magic of the wand of magic missiles if he really wanted to, kind of like a Hail Mary situation. I've actually had this happen recently. A character, a bard, attuned to an orb that allows her to cast Fireball with her spell slots. And she didn't. Obviously, she needed the damage, the DPS, so she attuned to it. However, she knew it was a cursed item, so she took a risk, essentially, and now she's dealing with the consequences of that. My 5th rule is for healing potions. So healing potions, to drink a potion, you can use a bonus action or an action. if you use your bonus action, you're basically you roll for the healing potion. So 2d4 plus 2, I think, is for the first one, and then so on. You roll for it. But if you use your action, you gain the maximum hit points for the healing value. Basically, also, and administrating, like giving someone a potion to someone else, it always costs an action. However, they roll. So if you're giving it to someone else, they have to roll. So basically, this allows, like, for a small example, in combat, you only have really one action to hit the goblin, right? Like, so if you take an entire action to just heal and you roll really shitty, you're basically just letting the goblin possibly hit you twice. And I don't know, this makes the combat feel a little more alive, and a lot of my players actually enjoy this rule. My sixth rule is for death saves. So basically, death saves aren't really affected by pretty much any dice in my game. So if you give an inspiration to someone, or someone has the bless or something like that, it's when it comes to a death saving throw, if you have advantage on like saving throws or something, nothing affects a death save, and it's only valid if I'm the only one and the player is the only one that knows the result that was rolled. Basically, this happens in combat for obvious reasons, but it essentially gives urgency to the battle, as you don't know if a player or if a character rolled a 1 or a 19 or something. I guess you would roll, like, you would know if they're okay, since if they roll a 20, they pop up with 1 HP. So number 7 is pretty easy. I'm not gonna spend too much time on it. It's sprinting. Basically, you can use your entire turn to run 5 times your speed. Super easy, super simple. It allows people to move almost as much as they want in combat, but it takes their entire turn to get to where they want. So number 8 is basically physical and mental, like, checks and ability, like, stuff. So strength, dex, and con ability checks can be retried until you succeed. So physical effort can be, like, repeated. So like failing an athletics check to lift a boulder lets you try again, essentially, if you want. But when it comes to intelligence, wisdom, and charisma, like, ability checks are 1 attempt only. Basically, knowledge or persuasion isn't magically improved by repeating it constantly. This is also help with, like, skill dogpiling. So if one character is a druid and wants to make a nature check and fails, the fighter can't just come in and also do a nature check just to see if he succeeds over the druid who lived in the forest for like 10 years of her life. I don't know. It makes more sense this way. Number 9, spell components. So basically, if you gain a spell that requires a material component, you actually have to obtain it in the game. So there's no hand-waving expensive or unusual item that can just appear in your character sheet. Like, imagine you get Revivify, which costs, I think, a diamond or 300 gold, and I just give you that because you got the spell. It doesn't really work that way. Also, it allows you to have a little side quest where you're trying to collect the components for the spells you need to possibly be a better spellcaster. And number 10. Number 10 is about exhaustion. So I forgo the exhaustion rules from the DMG, just the 5e DMG. it's just too confusing, and it's very punishing. My exhaustion is tracked as a -1 penalty, except death saves. Again, we don't affect death saves. And it stacks up to -10. At -10, your character dies. For an example, at -3 exhaustion, you're rolling attacks, skills, and saves at -3. So your attack has -3, your skill checks have -3, your saving throw -3. But if your exhaustion reaches -10, your body gives out, and unfortunately, that's the end of that. But I personally like this. My players have dabbled a little bit into it, and they appreciate that it's only like a negative to their roll versus half their movement, or they can't take reactions, or I can't really remember the original rules, but I also understand that at -5 they just drop dead, which this gives them a little more lean room and the ability to kind of work around it if they want to. But those are my house rules for D&D that I run with my players pretty much every weekend, whenever we can play. Obviously, sometimes we can't play, people have stuff to do, so on and so forth, but I just wanted to share those with you guys and see what you guys think about it. Please leave your comments down below. Tell me some of the house rules that you guys have. I'm curious to maybe add some to my list here. But anyway, I want to thank you guys for watching, making it to the end of the video. And out of all the videos, I thank you for clicking on my video. And I guess subscribe. I guess if you don't tell people to, they don't. So subscribe to my channel. Make the little DM a little bigger. And as always, we'll see you in the next one.